If you're looking for a new strategy RPG, you might want to look into The Great Whale Road. Released on Steam this week for Windows, it's set in the Dark Ages and puts you in charge of some Vikings. Now, the game is currently in early access, and right now only the Danes are playable. I played some of the game, and I have to say, it's showing a lot of promise. At first glance, I was expecting something like the Banner Saga, and indeed, the game does take some cues from Stoic's fantastic SRPG series. However, it also seems to draw quite heavily on the Oregon Trail for some aspects of gameplay, particularly with regard to resource management. Now, the Great Whale Road starts you off in your first year leading your Viking village. It's up to you to decide how to allocate work. You're granted a finite number of points that can be put into different aspects of labor. So, for instance, you could put labor into farming in order to guarantee that you'll have enough crops for the end of the year, or you could focus more on hunting, which yields a little bit of food, but also a few pelts, which are very valuable for trading. Then maybe you'll pump resources into diplomacy to improve relationships with nearby villages and make it easier to strike up bargains when trading, or perhaps you'll train up warriors to take their resources by force. Whatever you choose, you're going to want to choose well, as these decisions will impact the rest of your year. Now, once you've decided on where to allocate labor, the months start passing and events occur. People in your village will get injured. Now, do you heal them with rough, dangerous medical methods, or do you turn them over to priests for faith healing and traditional medicine? A ship full of dead men washes up on shore around the time that a plague's going around. Do you loot the ship for valuable supplies, or burn it, taking no risks? At the end of the year, you can take sail to complete a mission and advance the game's story. This is where the meat of the gameplay resides. After picking a team of warriors, you embark on your Viking longboat and head for your destination. Now, along the way, you'll be beset by bandits, troubled by issues relating to your ship and crew. You can expect fights to break out, and never bet on the squirrel. Now, suppose some pirates do attack you, and you choose to engage them in battle. The game will shift into a combat mode. That plays pretty interestingly. It feels like the combat in most SRPGs. Your units are placed on a board on opposing sides, and they can be moved in various directions to fight. What sets the combat of the Great Whale Road apart is that it has a card element. There's no mana involved, rather, cards can be used to modify the attack and defensive abilities of units based on what turn in the game it is. So, if you're holding a card with a 7, you can't play it until the 7th turn, but you can shuffle it back into your deck in hopes of drawing something that you can use immediately. I thought it was a little strange that the enemy AI could draw a ton of units from their deck, whereas I could at maximum pick the 3 other warriors I chose to go with me on the journey in between a bunch of attack and defense buffs. That felt imbalanced as I was consistently outnumbered by enemies. However, it also made victory all that much sweeter. Also, keep in mind, the version of the game I played was not finished at all. At this point, there really isn't that much deck building to the game, so if that's what you're looking for, you might want to hold off on this one for a while. That said, I am expecting to see the strategic element of choosing what units come along with you improve as the game is developed. Now, the combat ends when one side's leader is defeated. Seeing as this is the first unit that's placed on the board, you have to carefully strategize to avoid getting knocked out of a match far too early, but you don't want a battle to drag on for too long either, because it would be bad for the health of the rest of your units. Now, there's still more to the game besides combat. While you're sailing, you can choose to drop by other villages for trade, you can drop in and rest your units and restore their health, and you can listen out for rumors in taverns. You can also go hunting and sell the resulting pelts for extra silver, which you can then use to buy extra resources at trading posts. Overall, I really like the decision that the Great Whale Road is going in. I'm a big fan of games like FTL, Faster Than Light, and the Banner Saga. The thing is, most of these games get their sense of urgency and progression from a story that has an ultimate goal that's constantly exerting pressure on the player. So in FTL, it's the chase led by rebel starships and the goal of ending the war, whereas in the Banner Saga, it's the end of the world and everybody's morale and safety. For the Great Whale Road, the finished game will need some sense of urgency to come from somewhere in order to keep players engaged and make decisions meaningful. The story, as it sits right now, is interesting in and of itself, but it just doesn't have a sense of urgency to it. It's worth keeping in mind, as I've said before, that plenty of the game is unfinished. A lot of the game isn't well explained at this point, and there's a real lack of proper feedback mechanisms. For instance, I bought an axe for a member of my party 4 times because the game didn't indicate in any way, except by the shrinking number of my supply of silver coins, that I'd actually purchased the axe. Then too, there are glitches. During a playthrough, I had to exit out of the game the hard way due to something bizarre. The days started flying by, and multiple events occurred at once. Imagine, if you will, the user interface cluttered with 15 different options, all of them overlapping each other. That happened to me. So you might want to pick up the Great Whale Road if you're looking to get into a cool RPG early in its development, but please bear in mind that it has a long way to go, and it might be best to wait until the game's more polished. Now, if there's one thing that the game has going for it, besides its tremendous potential as a fun, seafaring RPG, it's the gorgeous aesthetic. Even though the Great Whale Road is unfinished, it's clear that a lot of hard work went into the look and feel of the game, which I really appreciate. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on the Great Whale Road.